Good evening, everyone. My name is Wilton Cedeno, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this very special event today. We are thrilled to kick off our exciting series, which celebrates the vibrant contributions and impactful leadership within our community. Tonight is my honor to introduce someone who has consistently championed excellence and innovation. Cristina Contreras. Cristina is not only an outstanding leader and advocate, but someone whose commitment to healthcare equity and community empowerment has profoundly transformed lives throughout New York. As chair of our board of directors, Cristina brings unparalleled insight, strategic vision, and passionate advocacy. Please join me in warmly welcoming Cristina Contreras.
Hi, greetings, National Dominican Day Parade family. How is everyone? My name is Cristina Contreras. I'm currently the chair of the National Dominican Day Parade, and it's truly an honor to connect with all of you again today. At the NADDP, our work is deeply rooted in our hearts, our Dominican family, and our Dominican community. Every day we dedicate ourselves to empowering, educating, and elevating the voices and dreams of our brothers and sisters, because we firmly believe that strong leadership is the engine driving collective success. This is precisely why we organize these leadership workshops, to cultivate authentic, informed leadership capable of opening doors and creating opportunities for our community. We believe that by supporting the growth of a leader, we uplift the entire community towards a brighter future. Today, we have a very special workshop that I'm confident will make a significant difference for many of you. Tonight, we will explore how certifications can become the key that unlocks new businesses and growth opportunities. We are honored to have an extraordinary guest with us today, Quenia Abreu, President and CEO of the New York Women's Chambers of Commerce. Ms. Abreu has dedicated her life to empowering and fostering the economic development of women and minorities throughout business ownership, micro-internship, and self-employment since founding the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce in 2002. Quenia has impacted thousands of entrepreneurs, assisting in the creation of over 3,500 businesses, aiding entrepreneurs in securing millions in capital and procurement contracts, and spearheading the establishment of the first Women and Minority Business Development Center in Upper Manhattan. A dynamic Dominicana, woman raised in New York City, Quenia is a passionate advocate for equal opportunity and economic empowerment. We also extend our heartfelt thanks to our sponsors whose generosity and support make these invaluable opportunities possible. Now, please join me in welcoming our essential guest speaker, Quenia Abreu.
I can never say no. So happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. And as you mentioned, the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce is an organization that focuses primarily on the economic empowerment of women entrepreneurs. We've been around since 2002. And we are not your typical Chamber of Commerce. We do have a membership, and I invite everyone to be a member. But we also offer plethora of services. We have been a partner of the City and State of New York since 2007 in their efforts to increase the participation of women and minority business owners in government contracts. So the Chamber offers education. We offer a lot of seminars on how to start your business, how to grow your business, marketing, WBE certification, how to sell to government. We also do events, a lot of events to put you in front of city and state agencies and prime contractors. One of our most successful programs is our Contract Her program, which is a program that we run the full year. It has a training component and also technical assistant one-on-one that is provided by experts in different fields that will help you, walk you from the certification through how to access the government contracts. We also help with financing, legal services, pro bono, consulting. We have a series of experts in different areas that can help your business grow. We provide technical assistance, as I mentioned before, and we do our networking events. We just had our State of the Women in Business in April. We had our New York Women of Excellence in March. We are getting ready to have our annual contractor procurement fair on June 13 in Queens. And I do want to say that although our focus is primarily women, we also provide services to minority business owners. As I said before, we have been a partner of the City of New York in those efforts. So we are what is called an MWB leadership organization, designated that way by the City of New York, which means that we help women and minority business owners become certified, build their capacity in order to then bid and obtain contracts with the City of New York. Happy to be here. So a couple of things before we start our seminar. If you can please mute yourselves. And I believe we're doing questions and comments at the end, but we will periodically pause if there is a major question, something important that you want to ask at that moment in time. And of course, this session is being recorded. So let's talk about MWB. So what is MWBE? For those of you who don't know, because we use it all the time and we think that everybody knows what that is, because we're so used to it. But MWB stands for Minority and Women-Owned Business Enterprises. That's what MWBE means. And what is that? Well, MWBE is certification programs that recognize business owned, operated, and controlled by minorities and or women. So the term MWB, yes, there are, of course, minority and women business enterprises, but it's a term really used for specific programs that are run by city, state, such as the one run by New York City and New York State, and also by the federal, as well as private corporations. So the term MWBE applies when you hear specifically to those programs. Those are programs that have been designed to advance women and minority business owners in the government contracting world, we can say. But so New York City has one, the state has its own program, and those are programs that are in existence because there is there are laws that have been passed to make sure that we have those programs. So in the state of New York, it's called Article 15A. In the city, it's now Local Law 1, previously Local Law 129. So those are laws that have been put into place by our city council, our mayor, our governor, to make sure that women and minority get a piece of the contracting pie, the huge contracting pies that exist in the state of New York. Private corporations also have what they call supply and diversity programs that are similar to MWBE's. For instance, a lot of the banks have it. A lot of the companies, such as Verizon, I'm going to say Walmart had it. Unfortunately, because what is happening at the federal level with the whole war on diversity and inclusion, some of those we have lost some of those programs, but they still are putting efforts into making sure that these companies bring in women and minority business owners to contract with them. And then there's the federal. I don't know what's going to happen with the federal, to be honest with you. It was the 8A program. We'll see what's going to happen with that now with this new administration. But for sure, we have our city and state programs still in effect. So what is the MWB certification? So the program, as I said, it's an actual program. But for you to get into those programs, you have to be MWB certified. It means that you have to go through a process as a women and minority-owned company to become certified with the city or state or the federal or other entities. So the MWB is a process for verifying who owns, operates, and controls a firm to determine its eligibility for NYC's or New York State MWBE Minority and Women Owned Business Enterprise Program. So that's what the certification is. So it's an actual process, it's an application that you have to submit, that you have to complete and submit. So people often ask, so why would I want to get certified, right? I am a women-owned business. I am a minority-owned business. Shouldn't that be sufficient? Well, no. As I say, you have to apply. You have to be giving that certification, and you have to go through a whole process, which is a lengthy process. I'm not going to lie. And some people shy away from it. Once you get it, it's like everything. And once you get it done, it's done. And then if you get more than one certification with different entities, then it becomes easier once you've done the first one. So why become certified? Let me tell you what it does. It opens, if you're a women or minority-owned business, it opens doors to government contracts and corporate supply and diversity programs. It makes you business out from other vendors in New York City and New York State, the competitive procurement process, because it's very competitive, and gives you priority to access small contracts. So New York City and New York State, let me explain this, just like any other city and states, they award contracts to billions of dollars in contracts to contractors, to businesses. The city and the state don't produce anything. They buy everything. With that said, they spend billions of dollars in contracting opportunities. But anybody can apply to be a vendor of the city and the state of New York in this case. But what the MWB does, and I like to always use this as a way to explain it better. So the contracting world is an ocean. So the city and state, each of them have their own ocean of billions of dollars in contracts, right? And anybody could go in there and try to get those contracts. But those oceans are full of sharks. Why do I say sharks? Because these are major corporations with a lot of money and a lot of resources. So it's easier for them to get the contracts than it is for a small business like your business. So what the MWBE program does, the MWB certification, that it takes you and puts you in this, I'm going to say pond or lake, right? Or smaller ocean or river, whatever you want to call it, where you only compete with those that are in that group. That's what's so great about the MWBE certification, that with this certification, it takes you out of that big ocean where you're in there with sharks and puts you in the smaller pond where you're only competing with smaller businesses like yourself. And there are contracts that are only going to be given to that small group where you are a part of. So it also gives you access to capacity building programs. There's a lot of programs. The city has their own, the state has their own. They have educational programs, financing programs, bonding programs if you are in construction, mentoring programs that are going to, once you go into the mentorship program, you get really one-on-one assistance, and you end up getting contracts with the prime contractors of those agencies. So for instance, a School of Construction has a mentorship program. The MTA has a mentorship program. I don't know if the DOE now has one, but so a lot of the different agencies have mentorship program, and those are really good programs to be in if you're an MWB certified company. Then market. Sorry. So the market, also the marketing, you get put into their directories. These are special directories that the agencies go to when they're looking for an MWB certified company that offers marketing services, or that offers catering, or that offers construction. So you get put in this very special marketing directory that only MWB certified companies exist. So what is the impact in New York State when it comes to the MWB? So the last statistics that we got, nearly $3 billion in public contracts were awarded to MWBs. That sounds like a big amount, but we always try to get more than that. Because both, as I mentioned before, the city and the state, they have their own programs, and their laws, the mandate that they set aside 30% of dollars awarded to 30% to be awarded to MWB. So if the city, let's say the state is spending $124 million or $260 billion in goods and services, then 30% of those, 100 and, 200 and something billion dollars have to go to MWB certified companies, because the mandates that they give, and this goes to every agency when it comes to the state, but not only the state agencies, but anybody that does business with the New York State. So that includes all of their agencies, that includes the schools, that includes the colleges, that includes nonprofit organizations, such as the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce, such as Catholic Charities, any of those big organizations also that are getting funding from the state have what we call MWB utilization goals. And you can always talk to them and ask them and let them know that you're an MWB certified company and that you would like to talk to them about opportunities that they might have that you can come in and be contracted by them. So what does New York State buy? They buy everything and anything. Commodities, office supplies, furniture and equipment, services, janitorial, security and maintenance services, technology, IT hardware, software support services, construction, infrastructure, projects and renovations, and others. And when I say others, that's because then you have your food, you have even grooming services, because somebody has to come into like the jails to provide grooming services, things that you never really think about. So what I always tell people, if you don't see your services on the list of things that they buy, don't worry, still get certified, because there are times when, just on spur of the moment, like what happened with the migrants situation, where all of a sudden they were in need of services for so many different things, and they needed supplies, and they needed food, and they needed grooming, and you name it, they needed everything. So I always tell people, just be ready, get certified and be ready, because if that opportunity knocks on your door, that opportunity comes, you need to be able to go after it. And the way to go after it is with your MWB certification, right? So what is the impact in New York City? Remember I said that New York City has its own MWB program. New York State has its own MWB program. So the city, the last tax in 2024, they awarded $2.1 billion in contracts to minority and women-owned firms. And that is still very low, because as remember I said, they need to do 30%. And they're trying very hard, but we have to help them. And one way to help them is by getting certified, because the more companies that we got that are certified, the more they have to provide opportunities. Because sometimes they will come and say, oh, we're looking for a company to provide, I don't know, electrical appliances. And we couldn't find anybody. So we got to give it to a company that is not MWB certified. So we are working very closely with the city to make sure that those numbers increase. And they have. We've seen a increase. 2023 was 5%. Now it's 6%. but we're working with them to make sure that that happens. So what is the New York City buys? Again, infrastructure, construction and maintenance of public facilities. You see the city, there's always construction going on. My grandson, when he comes to visit, he says, Grandma, the city, why is the city always in construction? I said, well, because we go through different what do you call it, seasons, and the winter takes a toll on our cities and our sidewalks, and it's okay because that gives contracts to our small businesses. So we are one of the cities that is always in construction. Then you have human services, health, education, and social services, goods, office supplies, vehicles and equipment, professional services, legal consulting and financial services, and others, marketing firms. And then you have not just New York City and New York State, but you also have the authorities that are separate, like School Construction Authority is an authority. It's separate from the New York City and New York State. The MTA, what else? The Port Authority. Those are all separate. So they also have their billions of dollars to awards in contracting opportunities. But those are not counted. Those numbers are not counted in the New York City and New York State because they're separate. Okay. So the city buys everything. I remember one time, I think it was City and State, that called me and asked if I knew of anyone that was selling what do you call that? Body bags when people die. And I said, I never heard that one before. But it's the reality. It's as I say, they buy everything. The DOE buys t-shirts for the schools. They buy uniforms. The after school programs buy food, buy snacks, buy t-shirts, buy all kinds of things. So how to get MWB certified? As I mentioned before, is an application process. And the thing is that there's not just one MWB certification, there are many certifications. You have New York State, you have New York City, you have the federal, you have NMSDC, which is an entity that certifies you as a minority-owned company to do business there with corporations, like Starbucks, as I mentioned before, like Verizon's, like Amazon's, like who do we have here? Target, and Costco also. They would take your MWB certification. You can, if you're a vendor, you can go to Costco, because they also buy from minority and women business owners. They very proud of Costco because they have been one of the companies that had stood up to the administration, say we are keeping our supply and diversity program. So they're still making sure that that women and minority business owners can come into their MWB, into their diversity program, because corporates don't call it MWB, they call it diversity and inclusion programs. Then you have the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. They also have their own certification. And WeBank, which is not there, which is for women, they also have their own certification. So there's many, which drives people a little crazy. My suggestion is that you look at what you do and then decide which one you want to go. But I am partial, and I'm going to say go with New York City, because it's not that difficult. It's one of the less difficult ones to do. And once you do New York City, then you could go ahead and do the other ones. New York City and New York State, they have reciprocity, which means that if you get certified with New York City, you can also, in an addendum in the application, check that you also want to get certified with New York State. And I believe there are others there that you can check. And they would also send your information to those entities. The only thing is that those are fast track applications, and I believe they're only good for a year, and then you have to submit the full application. So my recommendation is that you always do New York City and do, right away do the state one because you already have most of the documents that are required, and it makes it easier that way. Okay. So once you decide that you want to do your certification with New York City, which you can do at the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce, what are you going to do? You're going to gather your documentation, right? Your documentation. I'm sorry about the noise. It's New York City. Gather your documentation. It is the most important thing. Tax returns, proof of ownership, resumes. And the first thing, one of the first questions that we always ask when you come to us for your certification is, have you filed your tax returns? Because if you have not filed your tax returns, we can't move forward with your certification. That is the most important thing. Well, the first one, of course, are you a women or minority-owned business, and have you filed your tax returns? Okay. Once you gather all your documentation, then we can help you complete the application. Applications are now online, all of them. So we will help you do that. Don't be afraid. Don't try to do it by yourself either, please. Come to the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce because we will be more than happy to help you. Then there's, of course, a review process by the entity, which might include an interview or site visit, and it's done randomly with the city. The state, I think they do it for everyone. The city is done random. Okay, so now let's talk about the certification, the city certification. Why does government award contracts to private businesses like yours? And that I'm talking about, again, the city. To provide needed goods and services to the people of the city of New York. The New York City vendors pool includes more than 60,000 firms. Remember I told you there's an ocean? Well, that's their ocean, 60,000 firms, right? And spends about $30 billion in contracts annually. Now, the pool for MWBE certified firms is a little more than 10,000. Okay, remember that's the pond or the river, or the lake, whatever you call it, that's where you're going to be with the 10,000. Okay, so New York City is one of the largest, if not the largest, contracting jurisdiction in the nation. The city awarded over, not 30, but I'm going to say it's 34 billion now in contracts for 2024. As I mentioned before, they buy everything. And I really literally mean anything and everything, from the paper and computers used in agency offices, to the gardening equipment, to maintaining the parks, to the sulfur snow removal, hires construction contractors to rehabilitate roadways and bridges, improve playgrounds throughout the city, etc. And as I said before, it includes over 60,000 firms. But you're not going to be in the 60,000, you'll be in the 10. What firms are eligible? I said that wrong, but Robert is always correcting me. What firms are eligible? A for-profit business, you have to be for-profit, no non-profits, okay? This is not for non-profits. You have to be a for-profit business legally operating in New York State, New York City, that has a connection to the New York City market, meaning that you either have an address here in New York City, right? Or New York State, or you have an address in New York State. You can even be outside of New York State, but you have to have the majority of your business here. It means that most of your money needs to be generated here in New York City for you to qualify. So you can be in another state. We have had those cases, but they can prove that the majority of their business is done here in New York City. Your business has to be majority owned, operated, and controlled by a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Okay. Again, a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. That's with New York City and New York State. And your business, you as the owner, is a member of a designated minority group, including Black, Hispanic, Asian Pacific, Asian Indian, and Native American, or a woman. Okay? Those are the groups that qualify. And must have sold products or services for at least 1 year. So you have to show that your business has been active for at least 1 year. Not that it has been registered for 1 year, but that you actually are selling products or services for at least 1 year. Okay. So the MWB certification process, what do you need to do first? Assess your eligibility, as I said before, to make sure that you qualify. So you must be minority owned or women owned. Minority, you have to be in one of those groups that I mentioned before, women owned, and you must prove that you are the majority owner, meaning that you own more than 50%, 51% or more than 51% to qualify. Okay. Now, you also have to be registered as an NYC vendor through PIP, passport. And anybody, as I mentioned before, could be a vendor for the city of New York or the state of New York. But you not only want to be a vendor, you want to be an MWB certified vendor. Okay, that's very important. So once you register as a vendor, you must select the correct NIGP codes. The NIGP codes tell the city what type of business you are. What do you sell? What do you produce? And this is very important because if you put in the wrong code, you're not going to get the right opportunities. Once you get registered as a vendor, you get constantly emails from the city of New York telling you about opportunities that they think you should be applying for, right? So you want to get the right opportunities. You don't want to be in marketing and get construction opportunities, right? You don't want to be in construction and get opportunities for food vendors. So you have to make sure, and that happens a lot. You have to be very specific with your NIGP codes. And that's what I say. You got to come to the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce for help. Gather all your supporting documents. Remember, we spoke about this before. You can now begin to work on your application if you don't have all your supporting documents, because we cannot submit the application without all the supporting documents. Okay. Once you register as a vendor, then you gather all your supporting documents, then we're going to complete the certification application online with SPS Connect, which is the agency that processes, reviews, and ultimately it's going to give you the MWB certification or award you the MWB certification. Okay. Once you submit your application, you must respond to questions and requests. Okay. Because once you submit the application, if there's something missing, you are going to get those messages from SPS. And if you don't respond in the window, they give you a window, then they close your application. You are deemed unresponsive, and you will have to wait, I believe it's 3 to 6 months. Robin can correct me on that, to then resubmit. Okay. And also respond to our questions and requests so that when we are working on your certification, if something is missing and we need to submit your application, we can't submit it with that missing document. And sometimes we have to sit on an application for months. And guess what happens when we sit on an application for months? Some of those documents expire, like your tax returns. We have applications that have been sitting there for almost a year or a year with taxes from last year that we cannot submit because now they have to submit, the application has to be submitted with the taxes, with the new taxes. Okay, so make sure that when you are working with us, or that we were working with you, that you respond to our questions and requests. Okay, here's passport. I'm not going to go through the whole application process because it's a lot. We do the certification, how to get certified, as a separate workshop. We also do the selling to government, and we also do the how to put together your capability statement, which is a document that is required by the agencies when you approach them for contracting opportunities. But I just wanted to show you what passport looks like. This is where you register as a vendor. And Robin is an expert on this. We have we have Robin, we also have Keisha, who works with us. And they're expert at all of this. And you can just set up an appointment. You can come into the office, or you can do it via Zoom. We make it easy for you to do this. But this is how, this is what passport looks like, and this is where you register as a vendor. Okay. So here's your, so remember, we're going to do the registration for you to become a vendor before you even submit your application for certification, because they're going to require you to do that anyways. So here's the required document checklist, the things that you need. You need your resume, right? You need your bank signature card showing who has the power to sign checks, and your tax returns. Prove that you are U.S. citizen. Prove that you are either a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Licenses, if you have licenses and permits, let's say you're in construction, you have to show your either home improvement license. If you do plumbing, whatever it is, you have to have license and permits. You have to show those, and they have to be current. They cannot be expired. Lease agreement. You renting space for your business, you have to show that. Or if you doing it from home, you have to show your lease rental, the lease for your rental apartment. Business contract and invoices. This is very important. Remember, I mentioned to you before that you have to show that you have been in business for a year at least, but that business has to be active. And the way to show that that business is active is by showing any proof of contracts that you have, invoices, cancel checks, to show that you really, this business really has, activities. And there is no amount. You can have, I don't know, if you're selling products or services, as long as you show invoices, it could be for $10, $20, $100, $10,000, whatever you have, but you have to show activities. Okay. Proof of minority group status. Proof of ethnicity for each owner claiming minority group status, right? So you have to show, if you're Latino, you have to show that you're Latino or Hispanic, as they have it. If you're Dominican, you were born here, you will have to show the birth certificate of your parents, or your passport, the passport of your parents, where it says that they're Dominicans, whatever you have. But it has to be a legal document, and it has to show that you belong to one of those minority groups. Okay. Business start and origination. This is a little sometimes difficult, because if you started your business 20 years ago, 40, 30 years ago, it's hard to get it. But even like the receipt, your filing receipt of your company, that counts. There's always a ways that we can, make it work. That's why I tell business owners also, it's easier to get certified if you've only been in business. It's less complicated if you have only been in business for a year or a couple of years than when you have been in business for a long time. Because the longer you have been in business, the more paperwork, the documents you have to to include. And then that part about the business start, or when you started your business, showing where you got the money to start your business. How do it's 20 years, 30 years, who remembers, right? Or who has proof for that? And then when it comes to your resume, the reason why they ask for resume, the reason why they ask for this bank signature card is because they want to make sure that you are who you say you are. If you're saying that you are the majority owner, then you have to show that you're the majority owner. And that's a way to show that you're the majority owner. They look at your resume and they ask you questions in the application that are very specific so they can see if you are really the majority owner, in control. That's the word, in control. Or if you are the majority owner just in paper. And the reason what they make sure, of course, that you are the majority owner is because there have been cases and continue to be cases where people want to become certified as an MWBE because it gives them a tremendous advantage. And they can have somebody who's not from the minority group as the majority owner, and they just fronting as the minority. So your resume has to be very detailed, showing that you are in control of your business. And your bank signature has to have your signature because you are in control of your business and you're the one signing those checks. Okay. Tips for strong application. Be thorough and accurate. Incomplete applications delay the approval. Okay. Have your business documentation organized. So when you come to us, all of your documents are there. And have it organized anyways, even if you're not getting MWB certified. That's important for you as a business owner. Practice a clear business story that demonstrates ownership and control. Remember when I was telling you about your resume? And if they're interviewing you, if they get a red flag and they come and they decide that they need to interview you before they give you that certification, you have to have a very clear story. You have to really show them that you are the majority owner, but you are the person in control of your business, making the important decisions for your business. Okay. And ask for help. Many organizations offer free guidance, like the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce and other. So always ask for help. Okay. So I'm ready to apply. This is what the portal looks like for SBS Connect. Remember, I said that the city certification, excuse me.
In the meantime, I know there are a lot of questions that being posted on the Q&A and also on the chat. So please have your questions ready. And if you wanna talk to Kenya directly, you can raise your hand so we can give you the audio. Okay. Okay, Kenya.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So this is what the portal looks like. I'm not going to go too much into it because, as I said, we do a certification application. You have to create an account with SBS, and we can help you do that. And when you go in, of course, you're going to check that you are applying as a minority or women-owned business for the minority or women business enterprise certification. As remember, I mentioned the addendum when it comes to if you want to also submit applications for other entities that are partners of the city. This is where you will find that. And very important, when you are doing the application, you must check the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce as the organization that you're working with. Because if you don't do that, then we cannot advocate for you if there is an issue with your application. This is your certification affirmation once you complete your application, affirming that you are the owner. Remember I said that, the owner, and that you are testing to everything that you submitted as being um, the truth. So this is very important. We used to have an affidavit also, but that was removed. So now you only have the certification affirmation. And this is what you get when the application has been submitted. You get a record number right there. You save that number, of course. And if you have any questions, you can always contact the hotline, or you can just reach out to us and we will be happy to advocate on your behalf. And there you go. Once you have submitted, you get this message. You have applied for certification with the City of New York. As I mentioned, there's a hotline if you have questions, but most of the time you can also ask us. And if we don't have the answer, we will reach out to SBS for the answer. So there you have it. Take action today. Explore the MW opportunities in New York City and state. Start gathering your documents. Reach out to the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce for assistance. Apply and follow through, because the MWB certification can be a game changer for your business. There are billions of dollars to have, and there's no reason why you should not be taking advantage of those opportunities. We know businesses that we have helped that have gotten millions and millions of dollars in contracts, and we want to make sure that we continue to help our small businesses, especially in our Black and Latino communities, women owned, to make sure that the businesses like yours get an opportunity and make those millions of dollars so you can come back and support the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. We can open it now for questions.
Thank you so much, Kenya. That's a lot of information, and it's been a
Yes.
lot of questions in different places, such as the Q&A, and also Robin has been answering a lot of them. Um,
Wonderful.
so we have one from Jahaira Salinas, and also remember that Kenya can answer in Spanish, so don't worry, you can speak Spanish or ask in Spanish too.
Claro que sí.
So Jahaira, once my company is already certified, is is there a specific website that I have to go to look for contracts?
Well, yes, there are different websites, but so you have the city controller, for instance, publishes a list of contracts. You can see, for instance, like if you want to see what the city buys, you can go to the New York City Controller site, and we could send that information to you, and you get familiar as to what are the type of services, products the city buys, and who's actually getting those contracts right now. But what happens is this: once you register as a vendor with the City of New York, you will get solicitations. So you will get almost every day. You will get messages from the agencies, from Max, from the Mayor's Office of Contract, from different agencies telling you what opportunities are there for your type of business. That is why remember I mentioned the codes, how you register as a vendor, and the codes that you need to have there that are very specific to your business, to make sure that you have the correct codes, so that way you can get the correct opportunities, because you don't want to get bombarded with solicitations for services or products that you do not provide. But once you get registered as a vendor, you will start getting those solicitations.
Um,
And then also what I recommend is, once you get certified with the city or the state, start going to the events that they invite you. They have the procurement fairs, the procuring events every year. We just had one with DOE last week. As I mentioned, the one that we are doing, the New York Women's Chamber. So you get invited to all these different events where the city agencies are going to be, and also their prime contractors.
When is your event?
Our event is on June 13th.
Is it open to
The
non-members?
thing is that those events are open to MWB certified companies.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be MWB certified to get invited.
Oh, I see.
That's why we ask for the businesses to make sure that they become MWB certified. And I'll tell you, we do the MWB procurement event in June because the city, their fiscal year ends in June. So whatever money they have left, they have to spend it before June 30th. So it's a great opportunity if you're a small business and looking for small purchases.
So that's a good time to apply, June.
Yes.
Um, uh, Patricia Cavalier says that my company is already certified. I am not sure if I am registered as a vendor. How I could check this status and get the emails from agencies? I'm 2 years certified that I couldn't get advantage. My business is in the fresh produce.
Robin, can you take that one if you're there? Robin, can you
Yes,
answer that?
yes, I can. I was muted. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, can you just repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Patricia, you can ask her yourself. You can unmute. You have access.
Patricia, you need to unmute.
Mute. Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Hello, how are
Hi.
you?
Thank you so much for letting me ask my question. I am in the produce business. I am an importer. I'm an importer of onions, garlic. So right now, what I do is like act as a broker because I don't have the cash flow, but I'm willing to. I have support, and I'm willing to import myself with my company and be able to supply. So my industry is in the fresh produce. Like I could work with a Hans Point, with Costco, with all that has related to fresh produce. Is there anything that you could please guide me, or how can I get more information?
Robin, she asked if how can she check to see if she's a registered as a vendor of the city? But
Oh, I can do that easily.
yeah, Robin can check for you. But if you are MWB certified,
Uh-huh.
you should be registered as a vendor.
Okay. All right.
But Robin is gonna check if you can text her. The Robin, can you put your email in the chat?
Absolutely.
Please do that. So that way, if anybody has like those type of questions, if they need us to check in terms of their vendor, or even look at their dates codes to make sure that those are the correct codes in there, that we can
Okay.
look that up for you.
Okay. Thank you. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Yes, and just the last question. It is any agency about fresh produce that I can reach out to?
We can look that up for you.
Okay, thank you.
But what I'm going to suggest also, we got to look at a Costco, for instance, or any other entities, like Fresh Direct,
Exactly. That's what I
Costco.
need. Yes.
Yes, because they do have their own. The only thing is that with them, you have to do the other certification like WeBank. And we can certainly refer you to WeBank to get certified with them because they're the ones, that certification is the one that is used by companies like Costco, like Fresh Directs, like Whole Foods, those types.
Okay, perfect. So what is called?
Sorry, it's WeBank.
Okay.
WeBank stands for Women Enterprise. I gotta look it up. I'm so used to calling it WeBank. But I can certainly put you in touch, or put you in touch with one of our business experts that work with them doing their certification directly.
Yes,
But
I
that's the
need to be.
certification. That's why when I put this presentation together, even though we do work a lot with the city, I mentioned all of the other, that you have other certifications that you should be looking at to grow your business, because maybe the city is not the one that you need, or if you might need the state, because the state also buys other products. So just looking at you know what certification you really need.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There is another question that it was with in the Q&A, and I think it's really interesting because I've heard that a lot. Is um, can an immigrant business that have been dormant or inactive for a period still qualify if it starts like restarts again?
Yeah, of course. The what you have to do is, if it has been dormant and you have been filing your taxes again, that's one of the things that I said at the beginning. You need to make sure that your taxes are filed, even if your business has been dormant. And then you have to really get some activities going for that business. As I mentioned to you before, even if it's, three invoices for $20 each, because they don't have a limit, in the amount. They don't have a minimum or a maximum in the amount. They just want to see that you're doing business, that your business is active. So if it has been dormant, you have to get it live,
Yeah.
and
So then
active.
if it's dormant, then you have to have it active for at least 1 year.
Yes, you still have to have. Yes. So you have to have, as I mentioned, it could, three invoices to show that you are active, that you're doing business, and also paying, like if you're paying any, to buy, to purchase equipment, to purchase, supplies, if you're paying, employees or consultants, and you just have to show that there's activity in your business.
And then there's, I think, something similar. Well, not similar, but uh, it's if I am buying a business from another person who is not a MWB and I am a woman, how long should I wait to apply?
Well, if you're buying the business, and you that person, because you got to remember the certification is given to the person. um yes, it's the business, but it's really based on the as a minority, um on the minority status of the person, or the women's status of the person. So I don't think there will be an issue, as again, if there's activity in that business, and then, if you're a woman-owned business and you show that you have purchased the business, you should be able to move forward with the certification. I have not heard any challenges when it comes to that. So that's something that we can also
Oh,
ask
that's
the city.
that's really interesting. So if they buy, they can start the certification because it's at the personal level. Is
Yes,
that
you
what you're
are the
saying?
person.
Oh.
Yeah, you are the person. So for instance, let's say if the let's say the opposite, like if the business owner of that company was already MWB certified, that certification, if that person is selling the company to her, to this person, to this woman,
Uh-huh.
that certification doesn't automatically go to, it's not
Oh.
transferable like that. No, it's not going to go
Oh.
with, no.
But if the person buying is a woman, she can
Then you can,
apply
yes,
and use.
yes,
Oh.
because you're the owner. Yeah, you is the woman. Is a again, the owner has to be the majority owner has to be a minority, or it has to
Mm-hmm.
be a woman to apply.
And I think that's, I mean, this is also very common. And I have a cleaning company and I want to close and start another company for training. I want
Hmm.
to apply with my new company, or what do you recommend? Or is there any way to apply as a cleaning company for the
No,
time
what you will
and
have,
then change it?
okay, so what you will have to do, Marcelo, is that you're gonna have to change the description of the company once you know, if are you certified already or no? Are you
No, no,
MWB
this is
certified?
that's a question
Oh, for
from
somebody.
here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so what you need to do is you will have to start doing what I suggest that you start doing some activities under that company that are for training, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then you can just then change the description, start changing the description of the company, start changing, your website, start like, or I was, and if it's the company has a name that has the cleaning in it, which will make it difficult, you might
Mm-hmm.
want to just change the name of the company also, which you can do. You can amend the name of the company, or you can do a doing business as, and then start doing activities under that company that reflect what you are looking, to get certified for. So if you're looking to change the company to doing training, then start doing training now, and so you can show that.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
I think there's another one. Yeah, they're saying thank you for the responses on the Q&A, and there was another one that says if she has if she's a citizen and her partner is not a citizen or a green card holder, can they apply? Or
She the majority owner has to be a citizen or a resident.
okay, is it a specific uh, what's
Percentage,
the percentage?
51 or more.
Okay,
And I would suggest that that the person does, of course, if could do a larger number and a larger percentage, it will be even better.
I would recommend at least 60 to 65%.
Exactly.
Because smaller is actually considered a red flag.
Yeah.
okay. Well, thank you so much. I don't want to take you a long more time with. I'm gonna send you the questions and also the people that were registered to
Yes,
because
that would
they
be
wanted to hear with
great.
you. And
That would be great. Thank you, Marcelo. And I'm sorry
no,
about
thank
my
you.
coughing.
I'm sorry. You're with but thank you so much for all your time and for your information. And I think the best way is for people to register and to become a member. I don't know if I missed it. What do they need to become a member? I'm showing
Um,
the website
yeah, they have to
right
go
now.
into the website. Let me see, because I think it was on the first
Isn't up
I
at the top?
I think it's at the top. Let me see the first.
Here, right?
And
Join it.
Yes.
yes, I think it's the first. Um,
Okay, individual, one person. That's a year, right?
uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
For
year.
Wow,
you.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a
For
year.
all the and you help them once they become, you help them with the certification,
Yes, we do.
and there's
Mhm.
an additional cost to that.
No, not at this
Wow.
moment. Yeah, not at this moment. They might be if it's because we have consultants that work with them with the other certifications, Marcelo,
Mm-hmm.
and those do have a fee because we don't do those
Right.
ourselves. The city and state we do, but like we bank and others, and they themselves have a fee for the certification application. Like those entities have a fee themselves,
I
like
think
we
it's
bank.
it's great. It's a great value to just
It
even for
is.
the
It
for the,
is.
just for the events where you get to
Yes.
meet people. So
Yes, you
I
get
will.
to, yeah, you get to meet a lot of people. And the thing is, we gotta, just want to remind everyone that the city buys, in different tiers, in the government buys in different tiers, and the same with the corporation. So you can be a vendor directly to the city or the state or to this corporation, or you could be subcontractor by a prime vendor of the city. For instance, the New York Women's Chamber, is a prime contractor of the city of New York and the state of New York. But when we subcontract, let's say, a consultant to provide services, then that consultant is a subcontractor of the New York Women's Chamber. So it's a subcontractor of the city because it's not contracted by the city directly, but it's contracted by an organization that has a contract with the city. So there's different tiers, and you can get, for small businesses, there is no size, limitation. So you could be a very tiny small business, you could be a big corporate, big company, and still get and still be able to do business with the city and the state of New York, because they have also different amounts of products that they purchase, the amounts of services. So you can get a small purchase, a micro purchase for $5,000, or you can get a small purchase of $20,000 from different agencies that add up. Or now the city, their discretionary purchase, you can get a $1.5 million contract without bidding on it. An agency at its discretion can say, we need this service, and we want to award you $1 million contract to provide this service for the city of New York, without even bidding for the contract, just because you were qualified, just because you are MWB certified, and because maybe there's no other company that offers the protocol service that you provide.
I think the one last question, just to there's another one, but oh yeah, I think Robin responded. Can you please explain the benefits of both the memberships? It says, Robin says that the difference is the members is based on the size of the businesses,
On the
right?
size of the business, exactly, the size of the business. So for instance, if it's just you, then the amount is less. If it's you have other, if you have employees that are also, so it depends on the size of the business.
And that
I
would be
just
my last. Yes.
I would like to point out that we actually have a 20% discount on our membership rate through the end of June
So
for the
go ahead and
first
become
Thank you.
3 levels.
so become a member today.
Just one. That's my question. Do you
Mhm.
need? What if you're not a woman? Can
And
they apply or
you
no?
can still no, you can still come in. You can still come in. And the reason
Mhm.
for that is because, um, and I say this to, to everybody, business has no gender in reality.
Mhm.
Business has no, color except the color green, that it's, the color of money. So I encourage everyone to become a member, so that way you can do business with each other, you can interact with each other, you can learn from each other. Um, you can meet, other business, women or minority, own businesses, because we deal with both also.
Thank you. Um, I think that that's we took more than the original time that we set it up until 8. So thank you so much, Kenya, and the questions have been great.
Welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Welcome.
If you have more questions, please, Kenya, I don't know if you left your phone number, or I think Robin left her phone number.
Yeah, I think I have
Uh,
my number there.
mhm.
Email, I believe it's in the in one of the, they can contact Robin, or
Or yeah,
I've
if you can put the
already put,
contact.
excuse me, I've already put my contact information
you
in
did?
the
Okay,
chat.
wonderful. Okay, wonderful.
Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. It's been
Thank you.
excellent